is time for the green boba. I am excited to share this with you. I am a big fan of this deck because it has Reinforcement Walker in it. This deck is heavily based on, as I'm sure by now, a lot of you have seen that 54 card list. I should probably look up the person's name. We're gonna look up the person's name. We need to honor them. Joshua Freeman Birch. I have to thank you. I am so stoked that you built this deck. Okay. This deck is awesome. They're playing 54 cards, and yes, I have been from time to time an advocate of going up to 51, maybe even 52, and I think there have been times where I was crazy like Josh, and I went to 54. Not necessarily not in Star Wars Unlimited, but in other card games. And you could even make the argument that in Star Wars Unlimited, you have even more of an incentive too, because you draw 2 cards per turn. But of course, everybody knows that you have best cards in your deck. There are cards in your deck that are the best card in your deck. And every card that you put in your deck that is not the best card in your deck, it's worse than the best card in your deck. And there's plenty of valid arguments from people that will say, why would I want to put more cards in my deck than I have to that will make it less likely for me to draw the best card of my deck? Yes, that makes sense. I understand that. You really don't even have to argue with it. It totally makes sense. The only thing you could say is that you can't draw cards that you didn't put in your deck, which is also a really obvious statement too, right? If I didn't put Surprise Strike in my deck, then I can't draw Surprise Strike if that's the card that's going to win me the game, you know what I mean? So that's the challenge, of course, with deck building. Deck building is a really difficult thing, and that's also why a lot of people don't actually do it, and a solid amount of people that do it don't do it that well. It's really hard. It's really hard to build a good deck. And hey, Josh took down a tournament 11-0 with a 54 card deck, right? It's awesome, really cool. And now I played his exact deck for a while because it was so exciting to me, because I do love the toolboxy type decks, right? And I also loved that it played Cobb Vanth, right? I really wanted to play Cobb Vanth. And early into, I'm going to get to the deck list, okay? I promise. We're going to get to the deck list. We're going to talk about this, and I'm going to tell you about how I got the deck down to 50 cards, right? I'm going to show you what I did to get it down to 50. But something that made me really sad, if you haven't seen it on my channel, I had a video before Shadows of the Galaxy came out where I was really hyped about Cobb Vanth. And what ended up happening is, as I started trying to build decks, and I wanted to have Cobb Vanth in my deck, it was really, really hard, harder than usual, to get my deck down to 50 cards. And a lot of the times, especially when I was trying to build Green Boba and I wanted to play Cobb Vanth, I would get down to it, and I'd get down to like 53 cards. And I'd look at the deck and I'd be like, how do I do it? What do I do? And essentially, basically every time, it would end up me having to look at it and realize, you know what? I have to take Cobb Vanth out of this deck. I have to take Cobb Vanth out, and then I had to like take out some of the other things that I put in there for him, and then put the deck back to normal, and then it was like a normal 50 card deck. It was making me really sad because I really wanted to play him, but I just couldn't get the deck down to 50 and play him at the same time. So it's a challenge, but here we are today. We did it. I'm not saying that this is the best thing ever, right? Of course. I would never say that. Never say that? I don't know. Maybe someday I'll say something's the best thing ever, but this is what I've got it to. Thank you, Joshua, for building the 54 card version of this deck. It was super awesome. Some changes that I've made are, they were playing the Patrolling V-Wing, 2-cost space unit 1/1, when played, draw a card. It's a cool card, right? It helps you also thin the deck. You could also make the argument in the 54 card version that, you You play Cobb Vanth. Cobb Vanth brings that out. That draws you a card. It's already like your deck is a 52 card deck now instead, but now you have a spaceship out. That's kind of cool. Yeah, true. But one of the main, and I could have totally been playing the deck wrong, but something that was happening to me a decent amount was my Darth Vader, when played, effects were whiffing. I just wasn't hitting enough villainy stuff. There's, and even just not a massive amount of play testing, but already in the sample size I was able to acquire, it was frightening to me the number of times I would play Darth Vader and he would just be a Darth Vader with ambush. It was too spooky for me. And so what I've done to hedge against that a little bit more is I turned those patrolling V-Wings into cartel spacers. Another thing really cool about this cartel spacer is we do have a decent amount of yellow units to be able to use the cartel spacer's effect. The cartel spacer is also not an embarrassing unit to play on turn 1. It has 3 health. It can trade with Lurking TIE Phantom, so it's a hedge against that as well. Or not trade. The Lurking TIE Phantom's never attacking me, right? So I'd have to kill it, but... So that's one thing. The other thing that I did is that they were playing 3 Boba Fett's armor, and I understand people want to do that, but I really, really love Commission. And Commission, the reason I love Commission so much is it lets me search for a bounty hunter, an item, or a transport. And for Boba Fett, he likes all of those things because Boba Fett's a bounty hunter, Bosca's a bounty hunter, Greedo's a bounty hunter. The Fett's fire spray down here is a transport. For some reason, it's a transport. So if we get to search for Fett's fire spray, the Boba Fett's armor is an item, as well as the Hot Shot DL-44 blaster is an item. So the Commission lets you get the thing that you need. And especially with us playing Salacious Crumb and Greedo, that opens up some solid turn 1 plays too. You can play one of those, and you can play a Commission to search for your whatever it is you need. If you're like, yep, there's a Boba's armor in here, let's grab that Boba's armor for us. Little bit of thinning the deck too, right? It gets you to your good cards and makes you even more likely to get to your other good cards even faster now that you've thinned the deck. The other thing that I've done is I did have to cut 1 Cobb Vanth. You'll notice there's only 2 Cobb Vanths in here. And yeah, it's just what I had to do to get us down to 50. I can't remember if they were playing a Black Sun Starfighter before. I think they might. I know they were definitely playing 3 7th Fleet Defenders before, and I decided to just swap 1 into a Black Sun Starfighter just to hedge into some spaceships that are doing too much damage to me too soon, and it was going to take me 2 turns to attack them with a 7th Fleet Defender to kill them. It's just nice being able to have the Black Sun Starfighter save me, 6 or 5 damage on my base, and you can pull it from Darth Vader as well too, so very solid. And really, I think those might be the main changes, is really, I cut a Cobb Vanth, swapped 7th Fleet Defender for Black Sun Starfighter, turned the patrolling V-Wings into the cartel spacers. Oh, I did cut 1 Hot Shot DL-44 blaster down to just 2, and you could if you really want to, it could totally be worth swapping the McClunky ratio. Maybe you play only 2 McClunky and you play 3 Hot Shot DL-44 blasters. Totally valid option, because there isn't an overwhelming amount of underworlds in here actually. But that's one thing that is cool about the cartel spacer. The cartel spacer is underworld, whereas the patrolling V-Wing wasn't. So it does give us a couple more units. Same with the Black Sun Starfighter, a couple more units to interact with McClunky. So it's I think it's some solid changes. And I think with the side, I didn't change anything. I think there's the side. Yeah, the side is completely identical to what they had before. Yeah, totally makes sense. Yep, just play the Fell the Dragon out of aspect to kill the big crates or the big ships if you have to. If you really do want that to be a Vanquish and you pay 7 for a Vanquish, if that's what you have to do, you could. But I think that you're paying 6 out of aspect already for Fell the Dragon is a little bit ouchy. So maybe maybe just keep it there. Waylay's also solid too. Waylay gets the big things out of the way temporarily. Yeah, if you haven't seen any guides on this deck, I mean, there's plenty out there. I don't know if there's too much more I gotta explain about it. You get to Cobb Vanth is great against the control decks because when he dies, you still get another unit out. The Boba's armor is good against literally everything. Just make your leader a tank and hits for 6. So insane. Obviously, Overwhelming Barrage, one of the best cards in the game. So insane getting to play that card. It feels really good in this deck getting to play 3 Maul and 3 Vader. Because if you got a resource 1 early, it's totally okay. Because you know you got so many. You got so many in the deck. You're going to get to them. And it feels really good. I really do like playing this with the 30 HP base. I feel like you don't have that many high value ambushable targets. So just take the 5 more HP. I really do think it's worthwhile. One thing that's cool too is with Vader, you can potentially pull Salacious Crumb and Bazine, or Salacious Crumb and Cartel Spacer. Which feels really great, getting some more board presence. Bosk also obviously has combos with McClunky. And No Good to Me Dead. We do have 2 No Good to Me Deads in here because it was too scary playing 1. Too scary playing 1. I really do feel like 2 is the great number in here for this. Yeah, and before I go, like I said, some more reasons just keep popping in my head once in a while as I'm explaining some things. One of the reasons I did cut the Hotshot Blaster down to 3 is, or from 3 to 2, is you can't equip it to vehicles, of course, but it is a card that you really don't ever play for man. Like if you absolutely have to, you can, but I just don't know why you would ever do that. But there were just, like I said with the Vader, there was too many times where Vader just wasn't pulling anything. There was also plenty of times where I would draw 2 cards for turn, and it would be something pretty low impact, and then a Hotshot Blaster. And, you know, it's just like, yeah, I resourced the Hotshot Blaster, and then I have this other, like, little bit more low impact card in my hand, and it just made me think, man, I wish that this Hotshot Blaster was something else, right? I wish this was a more impactful thing right now, because using a Hotshot Blaster this turn is not useful. And the fact that it's you can resource it and you can use it whenever you need it, I think that playing 2 is probably good enough. If you want to turn this into a budget deck, it's going to be hard. I don't really recommend it, because you really do need a lot of these big units. The Maul and the Vader are really important for making this work. But if you really absolutely do have to, right? You got to play the Mauls, right? You got to play Mauls, you got to play Reinforcement Walker, you got to play Fire Sprays. I really do think if you don't have 3 Fire Sprays, you don't play Boba Fett. I really just don't. You don't need the Boba Fett unit. This can totally be Toro. You can, if you want, you can narrow the numbers down a little bit, right? You could totally make this is what we got for you. This is the budget version. Are you ready? Take out the 3 Vaders. Put it in, and take out the 2 Boba Fetts, right? That's 5 cards we got to take out. Those are the most expensive things in here, right? We're going to put in 3 Toro. We're going to put in another Hotshot Blaster. And then maybe you put in another 7th Fleet Defender. Maybe you put in a Cobb Vanth. Maybe you put in a Black Sun Starfighter. Maybe you put in another Greedo, or another low-cost thing like a Spacer or a Cloud Rider. Those are solid options. You could even put in another Bosk. I think that'd be totally valid too. Yeah, do that. Actually, I'd recommend that, okay? This is the recommendation. 2 Boba Fetts, 3 Vaders. We're turning him into 3 Toro, a Bosk, and a Hotshot Blaster, right? It's not gonna be as big of a deck, obviously, right? Because of Vader, but I think that'd be pretty good. I think that'd be pretty good. Okay, now the video's done. You made it through 17 minutes of a video. Actually, I probably cut out the section where I had to go find Joshua's name, so it's like 15 minutes. You're amazing. Thank you.